Well, it's David versus Goliath here at the La Horquetta Recreation Ground. The Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, the table toppers, coming up against Central SC, the table proppers. They're in ninth position at the moment, and they've just gotten one win in their 9 matches so far in the competition. For Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, it's been a tale with a different twist, as they haven't lost a match, just dropping 2 points in the competition, 2 draws. And my name is James Saunders. Joining me is former Trinidad and Tobago World Cup defender Brent Sancho, as the teams make their way out onto the field. Terminix La Horquetta Rangers in red, and Central FC will wear white this evening. A big match expected, a big crowd as well, always out in full support to support the home team. Crystal Sobers, one of the top female officials in Trinidad and Tobago, makes her first appearance here in La Horquetta at the Ascension tournament. And this is a fixture that one feels that Terminix La Horquetta Rangers should definitely have the advantage in.
Yeah, they have, of course, blazed a scorching trail as it relates to tournament results so far. Undefeated. Only blot on their page has been against Defence Force in a draw. From a playing perspective, they have played enterprising football. Certainly a free-scoring team, and have put in many teams to the sword. A very young Central FC team, a team in transition. And of course, they've been finding and trying to find their way through lineups on a consistent one, which they haven't had.
Well, speaking of a young team, lots of young players, led of course by Keyshawn St. Rose, the former TNT youth player. And he will have largely inexperienced cast around him. Leonardo da Costa, Kwame Hegu, Javon Thomas, Shem Clozel, among others. And this team, of course, coached by former national team assistant coach Ross Russell, who in fact will be going up against his son, Ross Russell Jr., on the opposite end. Well, speaking of Ross Russell Jr., he's in the lineup this evening. A very familiar looking defensive line for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, with Javon Morris, Caleb Sturge in there. Jesus Perez, he gets a start inside, and they've tampered with the attack somewhat, as they usually do, rotational style. Maurice Dick, the Maruga midfielder, is in, and he will be joined by Ikem Andrews, the TNT Youth International, Isaiah Lee, and Daniel David. Jabari St. Hilaire will start in goal. Dave Kwamina is the coach of this team. Good news, Atula Guerra back on the bench, returning after injury. And for the very first time, Jamal Crichton, the captain, will start on the bench.
Well, from a Central FC perspective, again, they have to do everything in their power to limit and stymie the wide threat that Terminix La Horquetta Rangers presents. And for this team here, I think more of the same. They have been explosive in transition, and they have found a lot of joy in turning defense to offense. And they will have to do that again here this afternoon. I think the one thing, James, they're going to have to fight against is complacency. And if they can, of course, avoid that, then we see no reason why they would not be favorites to win this one this afternoon.
Well, if you looked at the team sheets, you would see a noticeable vacancy. Riel Gettle and Kaim Thomas, they've been called to the national senior and under 20 teams respectively. Of course, TNT taking on Nicaragua later on this evening, as Kadeem Corbin, a former TNT player, gets the first shot of the match. And well, I tell you what, this might as well been a Fast and Furious special, because the game got off really fast. The Terminix Rangers getting an early chance.
You talk about the start. Good through ball there by Akeem. And Corbin, who's in a good vein of form of recent, took it in stride. The only thing that shot didn't have, of course, was, putting it in the corner.
All the drums bring alive the fixture as Kadeem Corbin goes on a foot race, and it's a good tackle to take it away from him. Central FC, they've got a big task on their hands this evening. Just one win coming against Maruga FC in their 9 fixtures to date. A largely young team. And there's Maurice Dick. Doing well to escape danger. Finds Perez. Oh, Ross Russell Jr. Just wonder what instructions his father would be telling his young team as a bit of butterfingers. Almost gave up an opportunity from a Ross Russell Jr. cross. Here's Ike Andrews. Good to see him back after a muscle injury. As, stymied his participation in the tournament. And, wow, almost a first chance for Kadeem Corbin. Rarely misses. They're fortunate that was one of the rare moments that he does. But I just wonder what Ross Russell Sr. would be saying to Central FC Chargers to defend against Ross Russell Jr., who's been one of the standout players of the tournament.
I think overall he'd be saying to his Chargers to try to be nice and compact, be very respectful of course, their shape, James, and not losing their shape or becoming ragged or dragged all over the park, and that's what Rangers wants to do. And I think more importantly, he would also say to be mindful of Rangers in transition. As I said, they're probably easily one of the best teams in the country when it comes to turning defense to offense. They have a lot on their hands here today, but it's certainly in a sport that we all love, it's not unattainable.
Well, loses his footing. Isaiah Lee in a bad area. It's well won back by Daniel David. Here's Tyrone Charles acting as captain this evening. It's a good pick out. Well, typical style. They're pelting bodies forward, the red shirts. But they've lost it. And this is where Central might feel they can make some inroads. Costa runs into Dick, who remains down as play continues. And, they got ambitious. And finally, play will be called back as Maurice Dick will be attended to. What do you think are the keys for Central FC in this match?
Well, I think one thing's for sure is they can't be overawed by the situation. As we have a look at both coaches of Central FC there on the bench, they have to be obviously understanding of the threats that Terminix La Horquetta Rangers present, but they cannot by any stretch of the imagination look at this as mission impossible. That's the first and foremost for them. They have to believe. And that man there in the picture has to be competent and strong in the goal.
Keston Aberdeen wearing the gloves. And, no pom-poms, but I can tell you they're fans.
Well, it's not a place that only provides good football. It also provides good food.
Love to sample.
Well, I heard the chips is divine.
Well, Daniel David will continue under lots of space for Ross Jr. Oh, he's put it past his own keeper. And they were looking, they were guarding the front door for the attack of the La Horquetta Rangers, but it was the knife in the back. And that man, Hague, put it past his own keeper. And, they find themselves trailing 1-0.
But once Tyrone Charles slipped this ball through here for Ross Russell Jr., Hague was in a good position. There was absolutely no need for him to stretch that far and put the ball into the back of the net. He had a man right behind him as well. There's no communication, and eventually they inadvertently put the ball into the back of the net. Poor defensive play there, and a mole that was already part of this game now becomes a mountain for Central FC.
Well, you don't go around giving hampers to the wealthy. And, well, that's exactly what Hague did. Just gifted La Horquetta Rangers with a goal. Already have enough in their closet. They've scored 37 goals in the competition, 7 more than the nearest competitor, Defence Force. Well, it's a good time to welcome the viewers in Trinidad and Tobago on CCN TV6. Welcome to the action here in La Horquetta. Here's Tyrone Charles. Oh, nice interplay here. And too heavy, the final touch. Well, they're smelling blood in the water. Terminix Rangers, that's what they do. Can't afford to give them goals early. Maybe a chance here. And, well, St. Hilaire, he's as comfy as a grandmother's bosom in saving that one. Oh, this is a good ball, and one that is well cut out in the end. Isaiah Lee certainly had his eyes light up with that opportunity. Well, they've been very dominant from set pieces. Can this be one of them? Aimed in at Lee! And the wall, he was free. But the goalkeeper was as alert as the ball flew to his right.
Well, he did find a bit of space in the box there, Lee, but he was always moving backwards and just wasn't able to generate the pace necessary to get it past goalkeeper Aberdeen. But that's not a bad effort. I tell you what, James, I'm not sure what script Jabari was reading in goal there, but I think he was on the wrong page because it looked like it was about to fly past him.
Well, his confident credit is really high. Keyshawn St. Rose, he dialed long distance and he almost connected. I'll tell you what, if there's one person that they've got to keep a close eye on, it's Keyshawn St. Rose, top youth performer, perhaps one of the best centre forwards coming out of the youth system recently. Well, what about this one? Kadeem Corbin. I tell you what, we're going to certainly have a showdown as it's gone for a corner. Keep your eyes on Kadeem Corbin versus Keyshawn St. Rose. Oh, that's an interesting looking service. And, well, Ross Jr. was about to say that he's a defender, but he's the kind of defender that scores goals, so scrap that. They're lucky, didn't catch it cleanly. We've just gone past 10 minutes and, wow, I'm already dizzy. It's been end to end. Corbin, Lee, Aiken Andrews, still Andrews. Well, stuck his hand out there. On the opposite end, well, did try to get Leandro da Costa going. Cut out, but Tyrone Charles could add insurance, and insurance it isn't, because the flag has gone up. And wow, talk about sticking a pin in the excitement, the assistant referee certainly brought the fans to their feet, but he's doing his job. And Central FC, they're breathing a sigh of relief.
Well, we talked about Rangers in transition, and that's exactly where they almost punished Central FC. Of course, it was spared their blushes by the flag of the RA, assistant referee.
Well, lots of teams might be missing players across the region. Of course, the Nations League action taking place at the moment. And if you're following, well, Bahamas, they're currently leading St. Vincent and the Grenadines by 1-0. And that indeed is the final score. Trinidad and Tobago, of course, will be coming up against these teams as well. But how about this? Ran into traffic, but they keep it alive. And, well, that's good from Lee on the opposite end of the park. Ike Andrews. Ball. Possession back with Central. And the chance can open up at the back door. And it's too long in the end for Leonardo da Costa.
Well, certainly the youngsters of Central FC is settling to the task now. And they're causing one or two moments of bother for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. Just needing a little bit more quality there.
Well, they're certainly giving it a go, Central. Not shy to get forward. They're not intimidated. Might need a sling though to take out Goliath. Yes, Tyrone Charles, a TNT international. It's well cut out. So with Pierre, he's found himself with an acre of space. Hague, it's his own goal that has his team trailing at the moment.
It's a lot better from Central, James. They've not only been able to, of course, contain Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, but they've also been stringing together a few passes, finding these pockets and playing and picking their moments.
Oh, this is good.
Oh, I tell you what, that was... I looked at referee Sobers there for a second, James, and looked like the whistle was about to be tweeted. That's a poor pass.
In a bad area as well. To a bad person, St. Rose, can he find Acosta? Oh, Sturge is happy that Javon Morris got something on that. Surely would have been the equalizer. Lee. Andrews. Nobody home. Tyrone Charles picks up. And well, almost got a second known goal. And well, they're living dangerously. And they're fortunate this time that the accuracy did not go against them. And well, that man would have been guilty yet again, Hague.
Well, he just needs a little bit of composure, James, and not to be caught up too much in the moment.
Lee gets his head on it, and well, Dick's shot is skywards. Well, they're quite patient in build-up. Andrews. Charles. Well, they've lost that. And the white shirts race away. Oh, goodness me. Oh, my God. Well, I'm sorry if I lost my composure there, but the defender certainly lost his as he dove into that challenge there and was sent out for drinks.
Well, Corbin putting in a typical striker's challenge.
Love to see that again. In the meantime, though, they're going to be lining up their mark from some considerable distance, and Cinderel's confidence takes it off the feet of Mulreen. Talk about dirty dancing. Yeah, Corbin is not liking that one bit. Oh. Tell you what, Breeze detergent usually gets off that stain. Here's Jesus Perez. Javon Morris. And Corbin is in an offside position. I'm looking at the movement of Tyrone Charles, and he's playing a very interesting role, Brent Sancho. He seems to be all over.
He seems to be playing in the 10 role, but he's flirted with a couple other positions. Very similar to Hector in the first game, trying to find and locate space and play in pockets and to, of course, have an impact in the game. He's certainly shown a lot of endeavor so far. That's a good ball. Can he get there?
Too good, maybe.
Yeah. But he's shown a lot of endeavor and work rate. But I think the execution and the final pass, James, seemed to be just lacking a bit. But he's a player of tremendous capabilities.
So 1-0 to Terminix Rangers. A win in this match could take them to 26 points, as they will hold on to the top spot on goal difference at least. Nine matches they've played, 7 wins, 2 draws. Oh, that's good. Corbin. And, well, so well cut out in the end. Certainly had promise. Well, they're never shy to put bodies forward, and they've got 8 inside the area. Not the tallest players, Terminix Rangers, but, well, they do get ahead on that one. Central FC can't boast of having tall defenders either. It's an even match. And that's too long for Maurice Dick. Well, if you can speak drum language, those beats are saying, come on. Egging on the action here in La Horquetta.
I wonder what type of fitness regime a drummer would go through in a football game, James. Those guys have tremendous stamina. They've been going at it since the first whistle, really.
Tell you, Kipchoge will have to look out. They've got incredible stamina themselves. Love to talk to one of them. Maybe danger here. And, well, needed to get it on target with some power. Yes, Ross Jr. Andrews switched flanks, so it's on the left now. Oh, it's gone past the well. And well, just over the head of Lee. And yeah, maybe an inch taller. The score line might have increased.
I think he may have misjudged the flight of the ball. He seemed to have gotten under it instead of coming onto it. It's good work there by Andrews. But Lee maybe could have timed his run just a little bit better. This man has done well for Central, Shem Clausel.
Any relation to Ian Clausel, you think?
That's his father.
Oh, his father, of course, the famed dread dribbler, Ian Clausel, known for his dribbling prowess. And when you're known for your dribbling in an era of Russell Latipi and so forth, says something about what you can do.
Well, it says a lot. His entire alias had to do with dribbling. The dread dribbler. A phenomenal player in the high school for Mokarapo Senior Comprehensive.
Well, here's Tyrone Charles, and well, it's touch. Just let him down there. Certainly carved open a wonderful chance for himself, and he feels that he could have done better. Well, he might be in some discomfort as play continues.
Yeah, well, I looked at his shape, James, when he took the shot. He had a good touch, but he completely miscued it. And if you looked at his body shape in taking a shot, if he took another look at that, you would see that his leg, his planting leg, when he took the shot, may have just slid out from under him. And maybe the reason behind this injury.
Well, the good news is he's back on his feet. That's our Campari Player of the Week last week, Kadeem Corbin. Keep at it, boys. If I were him, that's what I'd be saying.
So I think what's important for Central FC is that ability to keep their shape and be compact. I think they're very familiar with, of course, what threats Rangers present. The question is, can they stop them?
Well, he has the task of stopping them, that man.
You all showing the injury to Tyrone Charles again, or? Okay, no problem.
Well, after a breathing break, play will continue. Tyrone Charles, though, hasn't returned to the field. He's walking towards the bench, and he has been replaced by Junior. As soon as night is done, unfortunate for the standing skipper tonight, Tyrone Charles. He's having a wonderful game until that moment. You need better accuracy than that. Well, this back line hasn't really been tested that much. Some long-range efforts coming from Central FC. Nothing really to test Javon Morris and Jesus Perez. Not the usual combination. Caleb Sturge has played everywhere in defense. He's played all across the defense for Terminix Rangers. So too Joel Leslie Russell. Jesus Perez, the former National Caribbean Cup winner, getting his chance.
I think they've shuffled the pack on a couple of occasions. This Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, of course, missing some players due to national call-up for the Nations League and, of course, National Under 20. But They've been consistent one thing in one department, and that's scoring goals. Doesn't matter who plays up front or who plays at the back.
Keyshawn St. Rose will want to add some goals to his name as well. Can't get past Perez. As Sturge. It's a bit of a utility player, Caleb Sturge. Very versatile across the back. Lee. Asun. Is Dick. Pathways opening up now, Corbin. And, well, gravity certainly wasn't in his favor this time around. Touch might have come off defender, so it will be a corner. Usually expect him to pin the donkey's tail from that kind of distance. A touch and in the right direction from Ike Andrews, but not hitting the target. They're coming closer. That house better not be made of straws. They'll blow it over. Oh, this is good. Looking for the Costa. And St. Hilaire is alert. That's a good pass from Dick. Oh, slightly behind Ike Andrews. Javon Morris. Well, fortunate, but Lee will fall nicely for him. And, well, the goalkeeper lucky to see that one stick to his glove. And Hudson, well, he's unlucky because he goes to ground now.
I think it's very similar to the Tyrone Charles injury. Look at when he plants his foot. We talked about the slippery surface we've had. A lot of rain here in Trinidad and Tobago, certainly here in La Horquetta. And it's a slushy, very slushy, hard to stand on type of surface. And his planted foot, as we look at, of course, Coach Russell of Central FC. But when you look at his planted foot of Lee, I think that might give you an indication as to what may have transpired.
But he does look to be in a better position than Tyrone Charles, who's forced off.
As we take a look at it here again, he gets past. Ooh, I tell you what. Forget about the planted foot. I think that kick on the knee would have had its impact. That was not nice.
Well, let's just say 48, no VAR. Because, well, that might have been something else. Oh, no harm, no foul, quite literally, as play continues. Isaiah Lee is still off the field, though.
I'm surprised he is. Keegan Farrier certainly left his imprint.
I like him. Andrews can get at the end of this. Looking around for support. Oh, that's a good ball. Just over the head of Corbin. Kept alive by Asun. Here's Ross Jr. Many at the back door. Who's going to get there? And Dick does, but he couldn't nail it. And the man from Grand Chimay, Maruga, he ran a long distance, but he just couldn't finish the job.
Well, from a Central FC perspective, you want to know how that 3 red shirts, free back post with the simplest task of just putting the ball in the back of the net. luckily from a Central FC perspective, they couldn't do it. That was poor marking, and of course, Coach Russell is pulling what's left of his hair out, because it's shocking from all perspectives, really.
I think that Rangers might be in some trouble. Lee still has not made his way back onto the field, and it's looking unlikely. Sitting in front of the team bench at the moment. Or maybe he could get something to smile if Junior Asun can get away here. The flag is down. He's lost his footing as well. And, Hague, I think, would have made up for the earlier error. He somehow kept that out. Still with the red shirts. Oh, that's clever. Asun. Daniel David. And Sturge. Oh, goodness me.
The dread dribbler's son.
Well, you don't hear the name Clausel and rush in, do you? But he's going to take his man on here. And, good block in the end. Can he keep it alive? He does. Yes, Spear.
That's a good ball.
Searching. And he's found the target. Wow. Goodness me. And, he scored the Costa and he's got the Ronaldo celebrations. And he does what Ronaldo does. He scores goals.
Well, we built this one as a David versus Goliath, but nobody told Da Costa with that finish. What a touch of class by the young man. That is a very difficult header. The ball behind him, and of course, still with the ability to put the ball into the back of the net. A good delivery there by Pierre, and an even better finish by Da Costa. My God, James, we have a game on our hands. 1-1.
Well, when you've got the celebration, the Ronaldo celebration, you've got to have the finish. And tell you what, Da Costa, he certainly mimicked the great man, Cristiano Ronaldo. So 1-1, game on. But Sturge will have to chase here with Da Costa, the goal scorer. And it's one that he wins. They're pumped up at the moment. Here's Asun. Had a great chance to put his team ahead before the equalizing goal, Junior Asun. Lost his footing. And, he will feel some redemption, Hague. It's his own goal that put them in the position.
Well, he's now found his voice somehow, as we see Lee trotting back on after that Felix challenge. Certainly doesn't look free in his movement. But Central FC has their tails up, James. They're playing like a team inspired.
Here they come again.
That's not bad.
Well, they're looking for St. Rose. And here's St. Rose. 2 men down. Oh, he's going for the first post. And, he had a very small mark to aim at. And you can't forgive him for not finding it. But he is getting close and to the man that you don't want to give it away to.
Well, there's all of a sudden now finding gaps and pockets. And they're causing some problems. Certainly that chance there by St. Rose just needed a little bit more quality. He did everything right, and he just had the opportunity to put it into the back of the net. He went for the more difficult proposition, which is putting the ball first post, trying to beat the goalkeeper. There goes that man again, Clausel.
Well, just loving what I'm seeing. And maybe more. And St. Hilaire this time, he gets down really quickly to smother the danger. They're knocking.
Tell you what, this game has turned into a really entertaining end-to-end content. And Central FC is a playing participant in this one. What they've done, James, they've actually now played with a bit more confidence. We talked about the fact that they cannot be overawed by this situation. And all of a sudden, here's a team that's winning their 50-50 challenges and of course, having the bravery to break lines and get forward and give support to the team. So,
well, Ike Manjus can pick locks himself, and well, Kadeem Corbin can usually find the target. He did, but the goalkeeper well positioned in the end.
Well, you would have to suggest, James, that Central FC's bravery and upturning fortunes has really been pushed and buoyed, of course, by the complacency of Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. They've had their chances, they just haven't finished it, and they've looked very lax in their approach to finish goals. And sometimes in this sport called football, when you don't respect your opponent, you get punished for that. And Terminix La Horquetta Rangers is finding that out right now.
Well, I can guarantee one thing, and that is that the pack will be shuffled. Dave Quamina has called for reinforcements. He doesn't like what he's seeing from the boys in red. Ike Manjus. Wow, what a challenge.
That's really good work by Central, James. I'm looking at how quickly the white shirts got back behind the ball. And we talked about how good Rangers are in transition, but Central FC have done a tremendous job themselves in transition, and they've really matched them here. We don't know how long for, but this is good work by the youngsters of Central FC.
Well, they're retreating at the moment as the white shirts try to barge their way forward. Changes are coming. Atula Guerra, Jamal Francois have been summoned. This bunch, they've got a few minutes to make something happen. Could this be the moment? Dick, well marshaled. The pass is cut out. Central FC can break quickly and break well. There's Pierre, the architect of a goal, and opens up some space for St. Rose. Oh, that's good. St. Rose! Oh! And that's a big left paw to keep it out. And you can't poke the bear and expect him not to bite, and St. Rose is biting at everything.
Well, a good bit of play between Clausel and St. Rose. The two danger men all afternoon, really, for Central FC. And within that interplay, a right foot rifle was unleashed there by St. Rose, but the big left paw came out and swatted it away. I tell you, if you were drawing up this script, James, we would not have envisioned this one so far. It's been entertaining, though.
I'm certain Shonda Rhimes is somewhere behind this. Her type of script, as that one flashes across goal. So many twists and turns. Might be a Netflix special right tomorrow. Ball could turn again here. As Corbin runs into trouble. And the game has really opened up now. Here's Clausel. There's a dancey, weavy way about him, but possession is gifted back to Rangers. Asun. Oh, that's good from Ross Jr. It's Dick. It's good into play here, and well, it's well blocked in the end. As Corbin tried to get his toe in front of the defender. Maybe from distance. Well, no luck. Two changes have been lined up. They're primed and ready to come in. Reinforcements needed for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. Central FC have certainly got Goliath on his back foot.
And you have to give them credit, James. At 1-0 and then a bevy of chances for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, it would have been very easy to accept them to fold after that, but they certainly didn't. They have found us the strength of David and have been able to, of course, as you rightfully say, put Goliath on the back foot.
Oh, here they come again.
That's a good ball.
And St-Hilaire had to be
I tell
good.
you what.
Is he good enough? Well, just might have been, as that one rolled past the outstretched boot of the attacker, St. Rose. And usually, if he does get his boot, it does end up in the net. Not this time. So Atula Guerra, the TNT International, the man nicknamed the Trini Ronaldinho, is set to come in. And Jamal Francois will come in as well. So Isaiah Lee comes out. And I'll tell you who the other player is. And Caleb Sturge, the defender. It's a firefight, I tell you. They've taken off a defender. They've added 2 attackers. Paul, tell you what. Put your napkins on. This is going to be a treat to look at. Well, here's Guerra, his first involvement. And maybe not the best involvement.
Well, it looks like Dick has moved to the right back position. And David has been allotted that one hold in the midfield. As we take a look, of course, at the substitutions being made. And David would play that sit-in role and allow the likes of Guerra, Asun, of course, Francois and Ikem the joy of going forward. So it certainly is an attacking change.
Perez in search of the substitute, Francois. Well, that's a sprint of a fresh-legged fellow. Was a man of the match in the last game that they played. Just a few seconds remaining in regulation time of the first half. And maybe a chance here for a win. Well, to take the lead. That's good goalkeeping. Almost said a winner for a second. Renewed sense of urgency from the home team. And did have some stoppages in the first half, and I reckon that we will have 2 minutes of time added on.
I think from a Central FC perspective, they've certainly turned it up a notch, but at the same point in time, you do suspect that Rangers has another game. Maybe this is it here.
Francois, wow, that's a good block, if ever there was a good block. And good defending and good goalkeeping in the end.
And what I was saying, James, is you do feel that Rangers could take it to the next level. The question really is, can Central FC go up as well? And I think that's what the second half is going to unveil for us. But I tell you what, Ross Russell and his charges have to take a tremendous amount of credit for what his charges have been able to do so far. He's had them very well organized. They've looked good value for money. But more importantly, they've shown belief. And because of that man there in the picture, has instilled that in them. He's still barking orders. And of course, happily abled by Julius, his second in command. It's always a challenge working with youngsters, James. They sometimes can be erratic, inconsistent. But one thing you can never, of course, deny for young players is that heart and that ability to want to. And that's what Central FC have been showing tonight.
So we're almost to the expiration of the 2 additional minutes that have been granted to the first half. Is Daniel David. And well, Guerrero's been hustled out. His first match back in the last 4 appearances or so. He's been out injured, but he has been re-added to the cast of young stars at Rangers. And well, that's not a shot that will put you in a star position from Javon Thomas. Well, Crystal Sowers calls time on the first half that has been as entertaining as any Hollywood blockbuster. And at halftime, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers are held 1-1 by Central FC. We take a break and we come back with first half action.
The situation we have here is that these characters, and I refer to them as pests, right? What they are doing is destroying our country, but not on my watch. No street, no turf, no block shall belong to these cockroaches, right? It's no longer business as usual. Happy hour is over. If they don't fear God, at least they will fear Terminix.
Have you considered how your methods could impact on pests across the country?
I find we look after the rights of pests as opposed to the rights of the 1.3 million law-abiding citizens in Trinidad and Tobago. I wonder if Roach Ladden's son come here for carnival, if you'll interview him, eh?
But how could you defend one shot, one kill?
What, you want me to throw a pillow at him?
I didn't say that.
No, well, if a roach jumps in front of you now, what will you do?
Run.
Oh, Jesus, Lord Father.
Pests bothering you? Call Terminix at 672-5007 or 672-0042 or visit our website at terminix.co.tt for a free quote and consultation. Join our fight against pests.
Well, I hope you've got your seatbelts fastened because we're going to take you through a wild run of the first half highlights as this match between Terminix Rangers and Central FC is currently locked at 1 goal apiece. Started Kadeem Corbin as early as the first minute, forcing that man to get low. And then Tyrone Charles, the wiggle, the waggle, and the slip into Ross Jr. And the defender getting a unfortunate touch, putting it into his own goal, Kwame Ague. And just like that, Terminix Rangers were ahead early in the match. Would redemption fall in his favor? We'll have to wait to find out. Tyrone Charles later on, as he almost put it back into his own net a second time. And then that man, Clausel. Yep, taking Kadeem Corbin out to the cleaners, and Kadeem Corbin taking him to the cleaners himself in a physical way. And then Corbin, expect him to hit the target from that distance, deflected over, and more chances coming close for Terminix Rangers. Then the potential free kick just outside of the area. Isaiah Lee had to get treatment, eventually being replaced in the match. Ike Andrews did threaten. Maurice Dick, though, couldn't finish. And then that service on Pierre. And look at Da Costa climbing over his man and finding the top corner. Has the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration. Sui, oh, whatever he says. But he did score. The big palm of Jabari St-Hilaire did keep them alive. Keyshawn St. Rose, as he forced them to make some big moves. And it's a night that he has looked good so far. Terminix Rangers, they have looked concerned. And 1-1 at halftime. Let's see what the statistics of this game suggest. And, well, pretty close when you look at the statistical table. 14 shots to 10.
And yeah, the shots on target, 9 to La Horquetta Rangers, 6 to Central FC. 1 foul from Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, 0 yellow cards and red cards, 2 offsides in the Rangers department, 5 corners also in the Rangers department. 5 save for Rangers, 8 for Central FC. The tail of the tape. But what actually transpired in the pitch was, of course, the rising of David in the fight against Goliath so far.
Oh, will they find that sling? Well, the battle for the top 2 has been immense in this competition. Terminix Rangers just ahead on goal difference over Defense Force, so they'll be looking for a win. Let's look back at their journeys in this competition so far. And as you can see, level, just a goal difference, plus 25 for both teams, but Terminix Rangers, of course, scoring more goals. Rangers did take on Westport in the competition earlier on, and perhaps the goal of the tournament, Kyle Thomas, who is away with the national senior team at the moment, opening the scoring in this one. Ross Jr. threatened, as they often do. Poon Lewis in goal, had been top in this match, but then he couldn't stop Jamal Francois from the old dinky, and that put them 2-0 ahead. And then later on, Tyrone Charles, the captain, finding the top corner, and that made it 3. And then later on, the goalkeepers were called into action. 3-0 that game finished. Terminix also took on Central FC. Tyrone Charles, well, he loves to score goals whenever he's on the field. He put them 1-0 ahead in that match. And then, look at that. The goalkeeper couldn't keep it out, getting on the score sheet yet again. And then an own goal, a recurring theme every time they play Central FC, seems. But this game had more goals. Isaiah Lee got in on the act from the Real Gill corner. And, well, 48 to escape with a yellow only. Then this one from Gill. Sneaky. And it somehow manages to find the back of the net. That game finished 6-0. And Terminix Rangers took on Kunupia FC. David in goal was certainly making it a tough proposition until Real Gill did that. No wonder he's one of the best players in the tournament, earning his first call up to the senior national team. And it's for moments like that. Yeah, nothing he could do, taking a 1-0 win there. AC Port of Spain was also in the firing line. Well, they certainly created some moments of their own until Kadeem Corbin. He's won 2 Campari players of the match, and it's because he scores at crucial times. This is one of them. And he says, thank you. Of course, making reference to being mimicked in an interview. He said that word quite often. And then he provided the assist. Gill couldn't convert, but Daniel David had his shooting boots on. Clever. And 2-1 is how that match would finish. So they stay on 23 points, but Defense Force, they're not far behind. On goal difference, they're level, just behind, just having scored less scores, and they've got a front 3 of their own. And this is one of them, Rion Moore, the national attacker, opening the scoring in this match against Kunupia FC. And then Jamil Boatswain, yep, he is now the competition's top scorer with Showtime Edwards. And Brent Sam, rounding off the top 3 scoring for them. And Rion Moore would get a double in this match. Unselfish. And yeah, they certainly enjoy moments like that. But that wasn't all for the match, as Rion Moore could have had a hat-trick. But Dylan King instead would get goal number 5. And the red cards, jockey backs, and all sorts of fun in that match. They also took on Maruga FC. And, well, this was a goal fest. Brent Sam with the service. And Justin Garcia, the center back, with the finish. And then later, Brent Sam. Well, you can't caress better than that. That made it 2-0. 3 as Brent Sam scored his second. Was there to be more? It certainly was. Jamali Garcia getting the header. And then Justin Sadu supplying. Brent Sam for his hat-trick. And I certainly was the man of the match in that fixture. Police FC, the clash everybody came to see. Katie and Gabriel guilty of a handball, and Brent Sam. Yep, you're going to get tired hearing his name. Just loves to score. But Jamil Boatswain, he's the competition's top scorer. And because he scores in crucial moments. Controversial penalty, and Sam would step up from the spot. And that made it 3-2 in this match. And then look at this one. The substitute Dwight Quintero made it 4-2 in the PS Clasico. Certainly one of the most exciting matches we've witnessed in this tournament. Nothing Adrian Fonset could do. Brent Sam, man of the match there. Defense Force also took on Real Westport, and this is why he's tournament's top scorer, Jamil Boatswain. Rarely misses when given the opportunity. And that's another example of just how clinical he can be, scoring 2 in that match. And then Darius Oliveira would get in on the goal act as 3-0, the match finished Defense Force. So the action is prime, ripe, and ready for the picking in the second half. At halftime, it's all square. When we return, we've got second half action.
Located at Magnificent Mall, number 271 Southern Main Road, McBean, Couva. Amante Del Cafe. Happiness begins with brew.
Juicy action awaits us in this second half between Central FC and the Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. All level at the moment and all to play for in the second half as these teams prepare for war. Jim Saunders is my name. Brent Sancho, former TNT defender, World Cup player, is alongside me. And what can we expect in a second half that is level after 45?
Well, I think from a Rangers standpoint, they're going to have to do better. Forget about tactics and where do you play and how do you play. I think their attitude and their application towards the game needs to improve. I did talk about the fact that complacency could be an issue, and their first half performance so far have been littered with that. So first and foremost, they have to have a better, of course, better application towards the second half. And from a Central FC perspective, more of the same. They have grown in stature as the minutes piled on in the first half. They were very compact, well, of course, organized as a unit. And in transition, they got numbers forward, which was really good to see. And I think the question is, as I said, coming out of the first half, is when Rangers go up to that next gear, can Central FC stay with them?
Well, Crystal Sobers has signaled the start of the second period. No more changes for either of these teams as the second 45 resumes. So it's the first corner of the second half, and it will be one taken by Terminix Rangers. Daniel David got a good corner. We'll have a second attempt from a throw. Only as far as Chevron Morris. Guerra tries to thread the needle. Well, the big guy will tussle for this. Still holds on to possession to Maurice Dick. Can't find space. Jesus Perez will think of going, and he does try his luck. Too rough and heavy from Russ Jr. Oh, that's good. This could be better.
Tell you what!
Oh, well, he's lucky. Didn't know where it went after it glanced off his glove there, Jabari St-Hilaire. I don't think his teammates would mind, though.
Well, I'm not sure how much of it he would have seen, because his reaction, the late one, certainly would suggest that this ball had some movement in it. DaCosta cuts inside, and Jabari would have had some problems with the flight of the ball, and that almost ended up in the back of the net. It seemed to swerve a bit. What a start by Central FC.
Well, they'll come knocking again, and Javon Morris this time gets some purchase on it. Certainly had some movement in the air there. I think in the end that St-Hilaire did well to get his gloves on it.
Well, it did swerve, and if you look at the moment it left DaCosta's boot to the time it made impact with Jabari's glove, it may have changed the trajectory at least 3 or 4 times. And you would know, James, from a goalkeeper perspective, that is a tricky, and of course, add the wet surface and the wet conditions to that.
Well, I think a factor that many don't put into consideration is the low height of the floodlights as well. The night sky with low floodlights, that can prove an additional challenge for goalkeepers. Well, here's Asun. He's coming knocking on his own and couldn't find Ikem Andrews. Here's St. Rose. And well, the touch too heavy there from his compatriot, Jarek Williams. Oh, that's a bad giveaway. A dangerous area. Here's Da Costa, or Pierre rather. And well, anyway, they see a glimmer of hope. They have a shot. Well, Francois could be through here. On his left, well, looking for his right foot. Finds Guerra. And it's 2-0, 2-1 rather. And he doesn't miss Kadeem Corbin. When the pistol is set, he usually finds the target. And the Central FC have found the go-ahead goal that they've been searching for. And it's from one of their best scorers, Kadeem Corbin.
Well, we did talk about the potency of Rangers in transition. And that is a fine example of that. Good skill there by Francois Guerra, laying it into the path of Corbin. And if you wanted to find a man that's rich in form, you have to look no further than Kadeem Corbin. Excellent finish, punched it into the back of the net. Rangers back in charge.
Well, how often have we seen Kadeem Corbin bail Rangers out of sticky situations? Well, that's another example for you. Maybe more here. Ikem Andrews. Wow. He does bend it. Just not enough. Well, this is the nail that they were looking for. Terminix Rangers. Central FC, their confidence was high in the second half after going in level. Have they done enough to put them off? Oh, that's good. Compare. Gonna look for a white shirt.
That's a handball, I tell you what.
Well, not spotted by Crystal Sobers. Nor the assistant that was closest. Here's Corbin. Well,
he's a lucky
Fortune
boy.
favors the brave, and he's brave enough to get the third goal of the match. And well, it's dark, and he might as well say goodnight to Central FC. 3-1, Kadeem Corbin, the goal scorer.
Well, it would be interesting to have another look at that opportunity there with St. Rose and whether or not it was a handball, but it's all for a matter of conversation, because more importantly, Kadeem Corbin have seemingly put the nail in the coffin here for Central FC with that what I consider fortuitous goal. Clausel making the challenge, ball rebounding off of Felix and eventually back in the path of Corbin. Had even the chance to pull his pants up before he put the ball into the back of the net. Fortunate one, but I do feel, James, that there may have been a handball there with that St. Rose situation before the goal. I'm looking at the linesman on this side, and he was quite close to it. Didn't say much. So I guess he had a better sight than me, certainly closer.
Well, the rules are quite complicated these days, considering handballs. Movement of the arms, natural movement, defensive positions. Seems every Monday morning they're changing the handball rules, so he's an expert. I'm just a commentator. If you want something good in your neighborhood, who are you going to call? Kadeem Corbin. And he's come good yet again. Oh, could be on a hat trick here, Kadeem Corbin. It's 1v1. Oh, he's well defended in the end by the defender. Chance could be open still. It's bouncing all over. Finally cleared only as far as Javon Morris. Wow, that's something you don't see every day. Javon Morris taking off on a sprint.
Well, he needs to get back.
Left some space for Da Costa and St. Rose. Two of the more dangerous players. That's a great ball, but it's well cut out though by Ross Russell Jr., who's defending. So Javon Morris in a sprint attacking and Ross Russell defending. Who's next? Santa Claus? Here's Atula Guerra. And Guerra is the scorer for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. And it's done and dusted. The resistance is broken. And they've gone for their most senior magician. And he puts them 4-1 ahead.
Well, we always knew there was another gear that Rangers had, and question marks stood around the fact of whether or not Central FC could keep up with that gear that Rangers is capable to go up into. And I think we found out the answer to that question.
Well, they've called for Romario Burke. Maybe a bit too little, too late. Jerick Williams is the man sacrificed. Yes, Ross Jr. He's won a corner. Or has he? Well, it's a throw. Oh, belatedly got there.
When the ball was bouncing and bubbling, and there goes Guerra with the cute finish there. Just places and past Aberdeen the easiest of finish. And this game has gone from a close encounter to a blowout by the blink of an eye.
Well, he was the United States Soccer League Golden Boot winner back in 2018, Atula Guerra. And he's showing that he still has the class and composure to be among the goals. USL is the second division.
Bush League football.
Well, they've shuffled the deck and so far they've pulled out trump cards. Terminix Rangers. And you just feel for Central FC. Did put up a good fight for all of 50 minutes. And like vapor, it was gone after that. Well, here's Guerra. And yeah, a lucky fan will get a souvenir.
Well, I think the line of engagement by La Horquetta Rangers is a lot higher than it was in the first half. And they've not allowed, of course, Central FC the opportunities to stroke the ball around like they did in the first half. They've disrupted their style of play, but that's indicative of what we've seen from Rangers throughout this tournament. They sit quite deep in the first half, and in the second half, they press quite high up the park.
Here's Dick. Ross Jr. Well, he could be in here. That's a fantastic save. Second bite. Well, he's taking his time about it. Well, he did the Macarena, the Machacha, and the crossover step, and just didn't pull the trigger. Dancing all over the place. Ike Andrews keeps it alive, though. Oh, that's good from Dick. Corbin, lots of space, 1v1. Some 2 goals. Maybe a hat-trick in mind. Oh, that's a great ball. Still could be open, and
He's an offside.
Jamal Francois, but the flag has gone up. And Central will breathe a sigh of relief. And well, Francois, he's going to be disappointed by that. But he really thought he had scored the 5th goal for his team. Just straight offside. Jamal Francois. More changes. Well, they're the repairmen. So, the Costa has his tour of duty ended as Sampson comes in. Dorian Sampson and Jashon Thomas are the two players added. Well, they'll have to defend early on. And, well, they did a good job at that. Oh, that's good. Can he create some space to get the other Costa going? Leonardo. Well, here's Corbin. He's bumped and he wants to continue playing. And I think he's livid. Thought he had the advantage going there. Well, when you're in that type of goal-scoring form, you just want everything to roll in your favor. Now this is interesting. Atula Guerra, Ike Manjus. And I think he's conceded to Ike Manjus. He's a well-known dead ball specialist, and he says, my ball.
Well, I'm looking at the composition of this wall, and there's only 2 white shirts. That can't be right, James.
Well, as Mama always said, you burn to learn.
Well, there's a wall of 2, and then to the right of them, there's a wall of 4. I've never seen that sort of construction before. And it was always going to end that way.
Well, that's how you burn. And that's goal number 6 for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. He's shaking his head, almost saying it's too easy, as Ike Manjus etches his name on the headlines.
But what was the point of having 2 walls? It made completely no sense. It would have made a lot more sense if there were 5 men in the wall, or even 6. I'm lost for words, really, James, because I don't understand the reason behind it. Of course, as we take another look at it here, he just shoots straight through the middle. A wall of 4 and then a wall of 2, and he stands in the middle. Well, we've seen it all tonight, James.
Well, I never understood Pythagoras' theorem, and I'll add that to my list of things I don't understand.
Is it 5-1 or 6-1? I think it's 6-1 now. Check the score.
So we've gone past the hour mark, and wow. I think it's safe to say that this match is over as a contest. Well, here's Guerra. Oh, what a save that was. And, well, they're making him work. The goalkeeper, Keston Aberdeen. Will be a corner. Well, some shirt tugging, but they managed to get it away far from goal. It's as far as Jesus Perez.
It's really about, of course, damage limitation here for Central FC. They have to find a way of getting back into that organization that they had in the first half. They've certainly been rattled so far by the explosion of goals by Rangers.
Well, they did put up a challenge for more than half of the contest, Central FC. But in the end, the quality of Terminix Rangers just outshining them. Well, here's Corbin. Oh, that is an excellent save. If I have ever seen an excellent save from that man, Keston Aberdeen. It was hard, it was low, but the save was spectacular. He's got wings.
Well, it was a good strike here by Corbin. Got a lot of power behind it. And Aberdeen flung himself to the left. More importantly, he got both hands behind the ball and it was able to, of course, propel it over the bar. It's a good save by the young man.
Andrews in search of more. And again. Asun keeps it alive. Well, he's been quiet this second half, Junior Asun. Well, the goalkeeper certainly hasn't been. He's been one of the busiest men in the second half. That's going to take a while to come down. Oh, there we go. Well, they found some space in behind here. Saint-Hilaire is quick, but he's quicker. And unfortunately, the touch too heavy. Good bit of skill. And that's the danger of committing so many bodies forward. Terminix Rangers almost caught out. That's a bad pass. Ross Russell Jr. comes to the rescue. Still standing and good defending in the end from Jemima Mulreen. Oh, it's been a quiet night from him. Is it that his father's been successful in keeping him under wraps, so the game situation didn't really require services?
I think a combination of both, really. An excellent first half performance by Central FC. They really stymied the various threats that Rangers, of course, provide. And I think, of course, now in the second half, the cavalry came in. Guerra, Francois, to name a few. And they've changed the course of this game.
Well, a good challenge. Can give Central an opportunity to go forward. Oh, Javon Morris misses out there, looking at the flag, and well, they get the reprieve as the flag does go up. Well, they have been trying to exploit that space behind Javon Morris. The second or third time I've seen them attempt to go in that direction.
Well, they do play with their wide players quite high up the park, their wing backs, and it is an area there that can be exploited.
Well, he's looking to exploit the left-hand side, and it's a goal kick. He's had a good game, Mike Andrews. For more changes are afoot, and Daniel David would end his shift, and it's a new man coming in, Isaiah. Here's Corbin. Dick Chances opening up here. Kept his footing well. Nike Manjus. Here's Maurice Dick, Atula Guerra. And, well, easy in the end for the goalkeeper. Well, it's almost anticlimactic. The tension in the game has all but dissipated after an enthralling first half.
And you have to give credit to Rangers for that, James. They have certainly found their rhythm here in the second half. As I said, we always knew there was another gear there, and maybe even another one.
Or maybe the substitute can get something, Isaiah Raymond. Here's Maurice Dick. He's been pretty solid. But this time he gives away possession. I'll tell you what, the fans all across the Caribbean would have witnessed a goal fest. We've seen 6 goals go in. Oh, there's a touch forced into there. Corbin. Well, as soon as, not the first time in the contest, he's lost his footing. Inside the final 20 minutes of regulation time. Well, they've had their money's worth, the fans. Maybe more goals. Well, not this time. Jamal Francois just off the mark. Illegal, says Crystal Sobers. She's had a pretty consistent match, the referee.
Yeah, she's done a good job in of course, making sure that the flow of the game has been of a high quality. Certainly in the first half, when it was a little bit more interesting and that man may have felt a little bit more optimistic of his chances. Again, you have to give Rangers credit for snuffing this one out.
Well, Crystal Sobers is one of 5 top FIFA accredited referees in Trinidad and Tobago. That list also includes another female, Cecile Hines, you saw in the matchup between Police and Defense Force. And of course, Caleb Wills, who has been included in the World Cup cast. Well, speaking of World Cup, Trinidad and Tobago are in action tonight. They face up against Nicaragua in the Nations League. The match starts just after this match at around 10 o'clock. Well, that's going to be a goal kick.
Well, it's of course Nations League tonight, and as you mentioned, James, several of the players selected in the Nations League squad would have, of course, been playing in this Ascension League. Of course, the Ascension League giving them that avenue to display their talents to the national head coach, Angus Eve.
Two of the players.
Yeah, although may not have been present here at the ground, he would have seen it live here on Sportsmax.
He's a big fan. Well, here's Central and St. Hilaire, safe as ever. 2 players from Terminix Rangers have been selected for international duty. Real Gill, who's not here this evening, And Kyan Thomas. Well, here's Da Costa looking to put his name in the pickings. Well, he does win a corner. So Kyan Thomas and Real Gill both selected for senior international duty as well as under 20 duty. Of course, the under 20 CONCACAF qualifiers coming up later this month.
Of course, Marvin Phillip from Deportivo and Luke Phillip as well selected.
He's been selected for the under 20. Kevon Goddard of the Defense Force was also selected.
And Justin Sadu.
Justin Sadu as well. And from Police, Jabari Mitchell. So lots of players selected from the Ascension tournament. And of course, some were even called up for the training game that they had last week against St. Lucia, including Isaiah Garcia, Point Fortin.
Well, you have to give the organizers of this tournament a lot of credit for putting this on. It's really given our young footballers, talented footballers, the opportunity to display their talents, and not just display their talents here in the lovely La Horquetta recreational facility, but also throughout the Caribbean. I, of course, had the opportunity to visit St. Lucia and Jamaica over the last 2-3 weeks, and I was asked extensive questions about, of course, this Ascension tournament and the viewers enjoying it.
Well, there's a chance, and well, you went for the spectacular, and let's say, well, spectacular can also be used to describe the attempt, not in the affirmative sense, though. Kadeem Corbin, though, he's been a talking point for many football fans, and they've been wondering, you know, perhaps him not getting a look in at the national level.
I think at least being called in, both him and Woodley, I would have suggested, they do present a different type of dimension to that number 9 position that we don't have the abundances as we used to. Of course, when you think back to the likes of Stern John, Kenwin Jones, Cornell Glenn, of course Samuel up front, just to name a few. Jason Scotland. Well, he had really an array of choices in that position that could have come in and do the job, and of course now we just don't have the numbers and the volume that we had before. So it speaks to the fact that maybe Corbin and Woodley may have factored in some way or form, maybe not in the final squad that went to Nicaragua, but certainly to get a look in.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kadeem Corbin. This man wearing the number 9. He was the top scorer back in 2014 when TNT Under 20 won the Caribbean Cup. And, well, he has been a top performer in this competition.
Well, just looking at that injury with Dick there, I want to think that it's a muscle pull or tear. As I look at this appointment in the face of Aberdeen. He's done well, James, the goalkeeper. He's nothing to bow his head about. He's had a difficult time, and one of the protagonists there, Atula Guerra, came on, and of course his introduction as well as Jamal Francois have really changed the trajectory of this game. But I think Central FC could take some positives from this game, albeit the scoreline being 5-1. I think the young charges under Russ Russell certainly showed qualities, albeit in not enough long stretches to impact the game, but enough to suggest that there may be improvements in the second round.
Obviously, they got a packed weekend of Ascension football action coming up. Tomorrow, Saturday at the Arima Velodrome, AC Port of Spain will take on Real Westport, while Moruga FC will come up against second place Defense Force. And on Sunday, at the Police Barracks, Police FC will take on Central Soccer World. And that match starts at 5 p.m. So a full weekend, a full slate of matches, the Ascension tournament, and maybe more goals. Atula Guerra 1v1. And he makes it 2. Number 2 for him on the evening. And goal number 6 for Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. And just like that, abracadabra, he's made their hope go away.
Well, it's always a good sight for a coach when his team changes defense to offense quite quickly. And more importantly, James, the offense ends in a goal. Good composure, cuts inside his man. And of course, a slight deflection off of Felix over the head of Aberdeen. And nothing less than he deserved, Atula Aguirre. Good finish.
Well, Central FC will go in search of another consolation. Oh, that's good. It's gotten past Ross Russell Jr. Da Costa. He's got options and try to go it alone. And, well, he does get a corner. No. Just get a blow to the head for his troubles there. Ike Manjus. He's a big boy. He's back on his feet. So changes. Terrell Roberts has joined the action. Angelo Williams also set to join in. He will replace Pierre, the architect of Central FC's only goal in the evening. Maybe a consolation as we enter the final 10 minutes of the match. Oh, a useful touch from Saint-Hilaire. And, well, not quite sure what that was. It is a throw, though. Well, Maurice Dick, after a decent shift, he's been rested after suffering an injury. Just hope that it's not too serious.
Well, we talked about the table and the importance of 3 points for Rangers, but I tell you what, it comes at an expense. When you look at the fact that Hudson, Tyrone Charles, and now Maurice Dick comes up lame, of course. Players missing for international duty. You have to wonder what sort of impact this 3 points would have had.
Oh, those oohs and ahs came for a good reason. A magician is about. Oh, they all queuing up now. They all want a piece of it. Oh, there's a flag. Well, they've certainly put themselves in a healthy position, at least at goal difference, Central FC, Terminix Rangers. That's what separates them and Defense Force. Defense Force, well, they're not going to have a tough game tomorrow. They're coming up against the team that hasn't won a match in the tournament, Maruga FC, which Maurice Dick, the man you just saw lying there, he happens to be from that community. So it's a race to get goals to keep themselves above. I'm sure Terminix won't mind scoring another one for consolation.
But as I said, I do think that this tournament would be decided on the head-to-head games between Police FC, Defense Force. I would even throw, of course, Deportivo Point Forte, who we saw earlier today, and this team here, Terminix La Horquetta Rangers. I think those results will decide where this year's Ascension tournament champion will lay.
Well, this is aimed at Corbin. Doesn't get to the intended target. They will get a throw. Oh, had his pocket pick there, Ike Manjus. And the chance could open up here. Jesus Perez gets there first. Good time to take a look at the Sportsmax app moment. Let's see if your guess is as good as mine. And he's called the Trini Ronaldinho. Look him up on YouTube. Atula Guerra does get some help from Faria. But you never want to leave him 1v1. A la peanut butter jelly sandwiches. You'll make your goalkeeper disappear. That's our Sportsmax app moment.
Well, I think from a Central FC perspective, James, they do have a quality coaching staff. Of course, with Ross Russell, Trevor Nottingham, and of course Jules as well. Good people there. Well, that's a good finish.
And that's a good consolation. And I tell you what, they've got something to smile about. Was it Morgan Heritage who said, is it nothing to smile about? He wasn't talking about this team. That's goal number 2 for them, Central FC. And it's one that they will cherish despite the scoreline. Romario Burke getting paid it.
Well, I was just lamenting on the coaching staff of Julius Edwards, Trevor Nottingham and Ross Russell and the job they have to do with these young chargers. Good finish there by Burke, but the work continues, and this is part of the work in progress here. This result. So a lot of positives, as I said.
Well, I think our defense force, whoever they are looking on at this game, will be quite pleased to see Central FC get another goal. And that's because it cuts the goal difference that I was talking about earlier.
And that's good composure after the mistake there by Perez, trying to come out of defense with the ball. Burke with a very cool finish to slot it by Shabari St-Hilaire to give them their consolation.
Can they pick a red shirt? Not this time. Well, clearance is particularly a good one. And well, he felt that he might have been impeded there as soon. Or Francois rather. Oh, well, Javon Morris certainly made a few fans with that move.
Oh, that's naughty and late.
Junior Asun causing chaos and confusion. That was a free kick for his efforts.
Well, of course, the conversation around player of the match comes around, James.
Yeah, and well, 2 names come to my mind. Atula Guerra, Kadeem Corbin. Take your pick.
Well, it's a close one, that's for sure. That was a close call, I tell you what.
Well, I'm sure some nightmarish moments when I flash through the mind of the defenders and those on the Terminix Rangers bench. Fortunate to see that flag go up. Well, now I understand why you've taken up the dreadlocks, Brent Sancho. Decisions like these make you pull your hair out.
Well, I must admit what Guerra has been able to do in terms of changing the course of the game. In coming on and of course at a time where Rangers seem to be struggling a bit, that's where it was at 3-1 at that point, and that's why I may have tipped my hat for him, but I have no problem with Kadeem Corbin.
Decisions. And there was concerned about Pythagoras theorem. A greater solutions in the world that need some problems in the world that need solving, like figuring out a man of the match.
Yeah, I think this is a lot harder equation.
I wonder if the fans on our online stream can help us out. Maybe some handball involved there. Well, let's get fall anywhere to Ross Russell Jr. Well, the clock ticking down at the moment. Take your pick, Brent Sancho.
Well, I think that just made my mind up. I'll go with Tula Guerra as man of the match.
Well, Corbin, well, he's got evidence. At least it's justified. And there we go. Wasn't that hard, was it?
I think if I was deciding to grow my dreadlocks back, that decision would have stopped it.
Well, here's Burke. Heavy touch. We're inside the 3 minutes that have been added to the 90. Let's see if Corbin can get a hat trick. Well, not this time.
Had me nervous here.
Did get man of the match in match week 9, the last match week, Kadeem Corbin. And oh, that's a good stop from St. Hilaire.
This game has become very, very stretched, with both teams abandoning the midfield. It's straight backs against forwards here.
Well, lots of space for Burke here. And, well, try
asking
to
a
part
lot.
the Red Sea. Oh, we're inside the final minutes of time added on. Well, did get some practice there, Romario Burke. Unfortunately, it's not going to count. Well, it's just a matter of time now before Crystal Sobers blows the final whistle. Maybe a chance for Central to add another consolation, cut the deficit. Well, can't get past Jesus Perez. Well, that's it. That's all she wrote. And it's a match that ebbed, it flowed, and it produced 8 goals. 6 of which went to Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, 2 of which went to that man. And that man, Kadeem Corbin, as Terminix Rangers win this contest by 6 goals to 2. What a match we've witnessed here in La Horquetta. It promised goals and it delivered on that fact. And it's a match that Dave Corminer was made to sweat for the first 45 minutes. But then he shuffled the pack and picked out some aces. And that was all she wrote. Terminix Rangers remain unbeaten in the competition. A win that will take them up to 26 points. Tyrone Charles, though, did start the dance party going, feeding Ross Jr. And the defender Hague. Well, he put the ball in the wrong direction, and that made it 1-0. Rush Jr. getting in on the act early, and Hague, nightmare for him. But Pair combined with Da Costa to give an equalizer just before halftime, and then a Cristiano Ronaldo celebration. But you can make the song effects for yourself. The other brother, Leonardo da Costa, forced St-Hilaire into some action, and he was up to the task. Then the introduction of Kadeem Corbin. That was one to make it 2-1. Guerra with the assist. And what a goal that was. And then Kadeem Corbin, perhaps the goal of the match. Time to pull his pants up, and he made it 3-1. Yeah, that's gonna make YouTube highlight reels. Ross Russell Jr. certainly showing appreciation. And then came the Guerra show. He made it 4, combining with Russ Jr. And that made it 4-1. Smiles all around for everybody. Ikim tried to get in on the act, and he did successfully from the free kick. He made it 5. Back in form after injury-plagued season. Then Guerra, 1v1. And he made it 2 for him. 6-1 in favor of Terminix Rangers. And then Jesus Perez dilly-dallying, having his pocket picked, and Romario Burke getting a consolation to cut the deficit to 6-2. So Romario Burke finally gets the ball into the back of the net. Too little, too late, as 6-2, the final score. Let's take a look at the statistics for this match, and well, I'm sure we will see that it has been pretty stretched. 25 shots to 15 in favor of Terminix La Horquetta Rangers, 19 of which were on target. Of those, 6 went into the goal. 2 fouls compared to 1. No yellow cards, a pretty clean match. No cards issued by Crystal Sobers. 4 offsides to 1, 9 corners to 2. And look at the saves category. 19 saves. She's done a fantastic job. But I tell you what, Brent Sancho is going to be standing by very soon, because he's going to present the man of the match to the man who scored 2 goals. The first of which was this. And then he got another. And the man, the nickname be Trini Ronaldinho, certainly showing his quality at a crucial time in the match, and that's why he will be given our man of the match, courtesy Sportsmax. So big smiles all around as Brent Sancho, one quality player, is awarded by a former quality player. And, well, he's a new brand commentator who's doing a fantastic job. Atula Guerra, our man of the match. And our Campari player of match week 9, of course, the player that dazzled for the week. He almost got a player of the match this time around as well. And Kadeem Corbin scored the crucial goal to give them the edge against AC Port of Spain in the last match week. And he would provide an assist after that. And, well, he says thank you to everybody. We say thank you for him, as Kadeem Corbin is our Campari man of the match. $500 and a big smile and a check from our friends at Campari. Maybe some money as well. Extra money at the side. How about that? Certainly worth getting our Campari man of the match. Don't forget, the action continues. You can follow on Sportsmax as well as on YouTube. On Saturday, AC Port of Spain takes on Real Westfort at the Arima Velodrome. That match starts at 5 p.m. And at 7, Maruga FC will take on Defense Force second versus the bottom of the table. On Sunday, the action moves to the St. James Barracks at 5 p.m. Police FC, they will take on Central FC. And that is expected to be another quality match, as we have just witnessed right here at the La Horquetta Recreation Ground. Well, you've had all the action, you've had your belly full, and unfortunately it's time to say bye-bye. We leave you after a match with 8 goals, 6 goals to 2. Terminix Rangers over Central FC. That's it for us, the entire production crew. On behalf of myself, James Saunders, and Brent Sancho, we say have a wonderful evening. Catch you later.